In this video, we're going to talk about the most important business communication principle that you can apply across your communication at work. We're going to talk about what the rule of three is, then why is it effective and how you can use it in your daily communication, whether it be creating a presentation, writing an email, or sharing your strengths and weaknesses in an interview. First, I want to talk about how important communication is in today's business world. Several studies have shown that communication is one of the most important soft skills hiring managers look for, but also to identify who gets promoted and who becomes a leader in today's business world. If you have the best ideas in the world, but you can't communicate them well and get others, recipients, to understand your point of view and actually get buy-in, your ideas won't fly and your ideas won't get executed. Whenever you communicate something, you should have the audience in mind. Obviously, the audience is the most important stakeholder. Otherwise, you wouldn't communicate. So you need to communicate in a way that your audience is able to quickly understand your point, being able to digest it, and then optimally get buy-in from your audience to agree with your point. You're trying to persuade your audience of whatever you have to share. And the rule of three is one of the most universally applicable communication principles. The beauty of it is you can use it across communication methods. The rule of three says that lists or ideas that are clustered in threes or communicated in threes are more effective and memorable. So whenever you communicate a few things, a list of things, you want to try to get it down to three. What are the three initiatives you want to share? What are your three strengths? What are the three issues that you identified? And three works so well because it's the right amount of brevity, but still it's a couple things that creates a pattern. And it's very easy for people to remember three things, three issues. The rule of three is very popular and common in literature, but also in advertising and in the business world. For instance, Veni, Vidi, Vici, or Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness, all of them, they use the catchiness, the simplicity of the rule of three. Obviously, sometimes you want to share a couple more items, more things than just three. You want to say, we have 5 issues, or there are 6 steps we should look into. But in general, the more things you share, the more numbers your ideas have, the less likely your audience will remember any of them, and each of your items will lose relevance and impact. For instance, if you share 15 initiatives or 15 priorities, obviously it's a little unclear then which initiatives are really important. And if you share 15 initiatives, probably none of them is that impactful. But if you say there are only 2 or 3 initiatives we should work on, these 3 initiatives will have more relevance and be more impactful when you communicate it. The takeaway is to always try to get your ideas, get your communication down to 3 things. What are the 3 most important things you should communicate? And the beauty of the rule of 3 is that it's applicable across areas and across communication methods. Let me just give you a couple of examples. We already talked about a list of things. Every time you share a list of initiatives, a list of ideas, you want to get it down to 3. So instead of 10 initiatives or 10 priorities I'm going to work on over the next half a year, you want to get it down to 3. And even if you think all of them are really important, I want to share all 15 of them, try to cluster them into themes. You could say there are 3 themes of things we should look into, and then within each theme, there are a couple more specific initiatives or priorities. So that's number 1. Every time you share a list of things, you want to get it down to 3. These are the 3 things. Another example where you can use the rule of 3 is when you share something chronological. For instance, if you get asked, tell me about yourself in a job interview, you could use the principle of 3 by structuring your answer based on the past, present, and future. Or if you share a project update to your supervisors, you could say, Where are we coming from? Where are we today? And what are we planning next? That gives your story, your update, a good structure, past, present, future. And so every time you share something chronologically, try to bucket your answer in these 3 things: past, present, future. Another common practice is when you present something and it's a really complicated topic, or you want to be really sure that your audience takes that away from your presentation. First telling what you're going to tell your audience, then telling your audience what it is, and then lastly tell them what you've told them. So very tactically, when you present something, you could start with the executive summary of this is what I'm going to tell you. These are the key insights. Then you go through the key insights in detail and tell the audience again. And then lastly, at the end of the presentation, you wrap up with a summary and tell the audience what you've just told them. That is especially powerful if it's a complicated topic or a topic where not everybody is aligned, where you can apply the rule of 3. This was a quick introduction to the rule of 3. What the rule of 3 is, meaning always when you share a list of things or a list of ideas, try to get them down to the 3 most important ones and communicate that, because it's easier for your audience to remember and digest 3 things as opposed to 5 or 10, because the number 3 is just a very good number to remember, and it is still catchy, as we saw in a couple historic examples. And we learned a couple specific examples where you can apply the rule of 3 in your own work. Number 1, when you give an update to your supervisor, when you present something, when you write an email with your priorities for the week, always try to get it down to 3. It doesn't have to be exactly 3, it can also be 4 or 5 at times, but 3 is usually the optimal number you want to aim for. And if you ever have a longer list of topics that you definitely need to get across, try to bucket it, cluster it into themes of 3. That way you still use the rule of 3, but you can still provide more information to your audience. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know any thoughts, comments, feedback in the comment section, and I hope I see you in the next video.